they do look for content that they can understand and are not bound to put their minds to all kinds of content in all languages. Let's also take a look at the history of the Gita Press, who's been conferred this Gandhi Peace Prize now. The Gita Press was established in April 1923 in Uttar Pradesh's Gorakhpur, so it has completed a glorious 100 years. It promotes morality and spirituality through its published literature. The most important aspect is that they publish nominally priced copies of Hindu sacred texts. These sacred religious texts have also been translated in simple-to-follow Hindi language. In fact, the copies are so easily accessible that Gita Press is one of the biggest presses in India, despite being not-for-profit, and has an unprecedented scale of its books being read by Indian citizens. The archives of Gita Press contain over 3,500 manuscripts and over 100 interpretations of the Bhagavad Gita. So it's a national treasure and an important repository of Indian knowledge system. Let's take a look at the objections, though, raised by the Grand Old Party. Congress General Secretary Jairam Ramesh tweeted that according to a biography, he quoted another book, Gita Press had stormy relations with Mahatma Gandhi himself. That Gita Press copies were against Mahatma Gandhi's political, religious and social agenda. He said the decision to award Gita Press is a travesty, but he also went one step further to say the decision is like giving an award to Savarkar or Nathugam Godse, the man who killed Mahatma Gandhi. While Jairam Ramesh may have shot off the tweet, the Congress party otherwise seems to be uncomfortable questioning this award to Gita Press. In fact, Congress sources tell us that their leaders are divided over this objection to the award. Sources say Congress President and their UP unit is not happy with Ramesh's remarks. They feel the attack was unnecessary. They also feel that the tweet undermines the work that has been done by the Gita Press and offends those who've been readers of those works. And they've also indicated to us that it contradicts the party's own stand on Adipurush, for example, where they have stood up for the sentiments of the public associated with Ramayana. The big debate that's coming up, though, is this: whether they're objecting to someone being selected for an award is one thing, but the manner in which and the equations and the parallels that have been drawn, is that an unwarranted attack on Gita Press by the Congress leader?
गीता प्रेस जो आज वटवृक्ष बन गया है और इसकी शाखाएं पूरे विश्व में फैली हुई हैं, इसकी स्थापना भी बड़े रोचक ढंग से हुई है।
गीता प्रेस का इतिहास 29 अप्रैल 1923 से शुरू हुआ। 10 रुपए के किराए के मकान से ये शुरू हुआ है।
Gita Press Gorakhpur has been conferred with Gandhi Peace Prize. I repeat, Gandhi Peace Prize. My Prime Minister, who was the chief of the jury, says for social and cultural transformation. What kind of social and cultural transformation?
अफोर्डेबल लिटरेचर का निर्माण करती है, घर घर में वो पहुंची हुई है। और इसके ऊपर आरोप कौन लोग लगा रहे हैं, जो कह रहे हैं कि मुस्लिम लीग सेकुलर। मैं तो समझता हूँ इस प्रकार की बहस में उलझना भी अपनी ऊर्जा को व्यर्थ करवा रहा है।
Has the Congress ended up offending people for no reason, really, and shot itself in the foot? I'll take that question to some of our political guests joining us. But also with us is Devi Dayal, the trustee of the Gita Press. Many congratulations to you. Tuhin Sena of the BJP, Kamru Chaudhary of the Congress, and also Udit Goenka, who's the great-grandson of the founder of the Gita Press, is joining us, although the press is run by a trust and not directly by the family. I do thank all of you for joining us. देवी दयाल जी, मैं सबसे पहले आपके पास आना चाहती हूँ। आप जिस तरह का अटैक कांग्रेस पार्टी ने गीता प्रेस को अवार्ड मिलने पे किया है और जो ऑब्जेक्शन उन्होंने किया है, आप उसको कैसे रिस्पॉन्ड करेंगे?
हम किसी भी राजनीतिक टिप्पणी का कोई जवाब नहीं देना चाहते हैं। आप हमारे से संबंधित कोई प्रश्न होवे, पुरस्कार से संबंधित कोई बात आप जानना चाहती हो, वो हम कह सकते हैं। हम किसी भी राजनीतिक व्यक्ति की टिप्पणी का कोई जवाब नहीं देना चाहते।
जी, मैं समझती हूँ कि आप राजनीति में नहीं घुसना चाहते, लेकिन पूरा इशू ही यही है अवार्ड से रिलेटेड। कांग्रेस लीडर जयराम रमेश कह रहे हैं कि आप डिजर्विंग नहीं है अवार्ड के, बट उन्होंने तो इतना भी बोल दिया कि ये अवार्ड गीता प्रेस को देना सावरकर या गोडसे को देने के समान है। तो उस पर आप कुछ रिस्पॉन्स दे सकते हैं?
इस संदर्भ में हम इसलिए नहीं कुछ कहना चाहेंगे। गांधी, हम अपने सपोर्ट में कोई बात कह सकते हैं, जैसे गांधी जी, क्योंकि इस अवार्ड का नाम गांधी जी है, गांधी शांति पुरस्कार के नाम से है ये अवार्ड, क्योंकि गांधी जी से हमारी संस्था का जुड़ाव अपने शुरुआती वर्षों से रहा है। हमारे कल्याण पत्रिका 1926 से प्रकाशित होती है। उस समय जब पहला अंक उसका निकला था, तो हमारे आदि संपादक हनुमान प्रसाद जी पोद्दार उस अंक को लेकर गांधी जी के पास गए थे और उन्होंने इस पत्रिका के बारे में अपनी सद्भावनाएं व्यक्त की थी और सुझाव दिए थे। पहला सुझाव ये था कि आप पत्रिका में किसी भी तरह का विज्ञापन नहीं छापें एवं कोई भी समालोचना का शीर्षक नहीं रखें। उन पद चिन्हों पर गीता प्रेस आज तक चलता आ रहा है। गीता प्रेस की किसी भी पुस्तक में कोई विज्ञापन एक्सेप्ट नहीं किया जाता है और कोई समालोचना किसी पुस्तक की नहीं होती है। एवं आज 97 वर्ष कल्याण पत्रिका को लगातार छपते हुए हो गए और किसी भी प्रकार का उसमें कोई विज्ञापन नहीं है। और हम इस रूप में अपने को पाते हैं कि गांधी जी से हमारा जुड़ाव हमारी संस्था के शुरुआती वर्षों से रहा है। उनके लेख भी हमारी पत्रिका में बराबर छपते रहे हैं और स्पेशल रूप से वो कल्याण पत्रिका के लिए लेख भेजा करते थे। और इस पुरस्कार को प्राप्त होने से सभी में बहुत ही उत्साह का माहौल है। संस्था के सभी लोगों ने इसको बहुत ही सकारात्मक कदम बताया है और गीता प्रेस से जुड़े हुए लाखों करोड़ों पाठक जो कि गीता प्रेस और गीता प्रेस की पुस्तकों से सद्भाव रखते हैं, अपने आप को गौरवान्वित महसूस करते हैं।
जी, क्या मैं आपसे पूछ सकती हूँ, मैं जानती हूँ आप पॉलिटिक्स में नहीं जाना चाहते और आपने जो एक्सप्लेनेशन दिया है वो अपने आप में ठीक है, लेकिन उन्होंने आपको गोडसे से कंपेयर कर दिया, क्या ये कुछ ज्यादा ही नहीं हो गया? इस पे कुछ बोलना चाहेंगे?
ये उनकी अपनी सोच हो सकती है, इसमें संस्था का कोई जो है रिएक्ट नहीं है।
Okay, all right. Let me open this up to some of our other guests joining us. Kamru Chaudhary, I'm coming to you. I'm not quite understanding the tone and tenor in the manner in which Jairam Ramesh has, almost charged at Gita Press, comparing them to Godse. Was this not excessive for a publication that has such a glorious history in India? What is the meaning of this kind of an attack?
A 100-year-old organization operating in India, distributing books of let's say a particular faith which has got a lot of sentimental values among Indians, in India and abroad. There's no doubt about it. Then the irony that cannot be missed out here is that we are giving Gita Press the award of the Gandhiji in the name of Gandhiji that was instituted, Gandhi Peace Award. Now we are criticizing the irony of that. What was the relationship of Gita Press and the Gandhian values rather? Especially on the question of the temple entry and the silence of their mouthpiece Kalyan on Gandhiji's assassination. For 2 long months, they did not even mention the word of Gandhiji's assassination, their Kalyan paper that was quite in circulation at that point in time. Now, when they maintained a steady silence on Mahatma Gandhi's assassination, till April 1948, rather, they did not mention Gandhiji's assassination. But then Poddar, this gentleman, was actively involved in defending the RSS that has been banned in 4th of February 1948 for his alleged role in Gandhi's assassination.
But the RSS was eventually, the RSS was eventually not implicated for its role. They were absolved of any role in Mahatma Gandhi's assassination.
I'm coming to that. I'm telling you the role of Mr. Poddar, the brainchild behind the Kalyan magazine was monthly published during those times. When in 4th of February 1948, RSS was banned. The ban was lifted on something around July 1949. In between this period, this gentleman, Mr. Poddar, was nowhere to be found. He could not enter Uttar Pradesh also during this time because of fear of being arrested. Just after the ban on the RSS was lifted, 4 days after that, he was seen campaigning for the Jansangh out there, along with Atal Bihari Vajpayee, who was heading the editorial.
So are you saying, Kamru Chaudhary, I understood your point. I understood your point. But are you saying that anybody who is not from the Congress fold or is from organizations not associated with the Congress cannot get this Gandhi Peace Prize? It can only go to Congress leaders in that sense?
We have given this, India has awarded this to Nelson Mandela also.
Yeah.
What's there to do with the Congress party out here?
No, but every opposition you're listing to Mr. Podar, who started the publication, and to the publication itself, seems to be that they were on the other side of the political spectrum, related to the RSS, sympathetic to the RSS, and sympathetic to the Jansangh and others. But does that bar them from getting this award?
No, you are missing out the irony out here. The same Kalyan or the Gita Press were very much highly critical of Mahatma Gandhi and his policies.
So what's wrong with
policies
that?
Towards the entry of temples, towards his policy of the or towards some other communities like the minorities, Muslims, and all these things.
So what's wrong with that?
Of those Gandhian values, in fact. And now this government is giving them the award on the same Gandhian principle.
Okay.
Because it's no hidden fact that the Gita Press owners at that time were not in good terms with Mahatma Gandhi ji.
All right, let me take that to Tuhin Sena, and then Udit Goenka can respond to some of the charges that have come in the way of his family as well that started this press. Tuhin Sena, the fundamental point is that this very award's objective is to further the work of those who have followed the ideals of Mahatma Gandhi. Then how does the Gita Press fit in, even if it is deserving of an award otherwise?
Good evening, Shivani. Good evening, everybody. Let me, at the outset make this very clear that the present day Congress party has nothing to do with the ideals of Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi's last words were, "Hey Ram," and this Congress party, through its affidavit in 2005, killed the essence of Mahatma Gandhi's thoughts. So they should not drag Mahatma Gandhi's thoughts in this particular award being given to Gita Press. Now, why Gita Press is being given this award? Because over the last 100 years, it has played an exemplary, unparalleled role in furthering the Sanatan cause. And Sanatan cause is all about Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. It is about treating the world as a family. It is about peace. So I don't see any reason why it should have been an issue of contention. It should have been an issue of dispute. But by dragging in not just Godse but also Savarkar, one of the greatest freedom fighters and a devout Hindu nationalist, the Congress has only once again displayed its fundamental antipathy towards the Sanatan cause. Today, the opposition is meeting on the 23rd. I would expect somebody like Uddhav Thackeray to take a stand, which unfortunately he can never do. But the Congress has clearly once again only, displayed its fundamental opposition to Sanatan thoughts and Sanatan causes.
I'm also not quite understanding if in contemporary times, if it is such a big problem to disagree with someone's view. I mean, Ambedkar disagrees with many of Mahatma Gandhi's views, and very caustically, and even of some of the steps that the Congress at that time took.
Absolutely, that is the other point, Shivani.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to understand this, whether this is a fair argument. And, Mr. Dayal had spoken earlier.
Not only Ambedkar.
Yes, yes. Go ahead.
I'll just take 30 seconds more. I'm so glad you brought up this point. Not only Ambedkar, even Subhash Chandra Bose had major differences of opinion with Mahatma Gandhi. Even Nehru had differences of opinion later on. Mahatma Gandhi wanted the Congress to be dissolved. Nehru obviously did not want that. So should we stop celebrating all those people who had differences of opinion with Gandhiji? So at one level, while Jairam Ramesh's tweets were certainly anti-Hindu, it was also devoid of any logic besides a complete, it shows a lack of understanding of their own history.
Don't you think that the Congress...
During the era of Indira Gandhi...
One second, Tuhin Sena, don't you think the Congress does have a point that this award is particularly for those who follow the footsteps or ideals of Mahatma Gandhi? So in that sense, there should be... some sort of evidence that the person or organization being awarded agreed with him.
Can I come in now?
No, there is no prerequisite. There is no prerequisite. Like I said, Gandhi espoused Hinduism through his own way, and Gita Press has espoused Hinduism. Hinduism is so vast that no one entity can have its own patent over it.
Mahatma Gandhi always the role played by secularism out here. It's not a question that Mahatma Gandhi's named award should be
No,
given to
first
Gita
of
Press
all,
or XYZ.
first of all,
You can give
Shivani,
it
I
to
don't
Saraka.
think Congress has
First
a right
of all,
to
Mr.
comment on it
Sena,
because the
Prince
imported
Sena, first of
Gandhis
all,
have done
please
away
tell
with
the
the
world
ideals of
that
Mahatma
Godse is
Gandhi
Murdabad.
through the affidavit
To
of
tell the world
2005 where they
Godse is
questioned the
Murdabad.
existence of Bhagwan
To
Ram.
tell
They
that
brought
once, we can
great
continue the debate.
disrespect to the thought and the
Tell
philosophy of
Godse
Mahatma
Murdabad.
Gandhi, and they should apologize to the
Okay.
country before even
Okay,
commenting on
we
this.
could get into the discussion of what did Mahatma Gandhi truly stand for. Did he not stand for inclusion? And does that inclusion not mean that people who even disagreed with him, I think Gandhiji was somebody who espoused this view, that even those who disagree with you, in fact, even those who want to harm you
Absolutely.
should be accepted and, embraced by you. Those are the values of Mahatma Gandhi, and people did object to some of this, given what transpired in India at the time of independence and just before independence. But anyways, I'm not going into that. Let me go across to Udit Goenka. Udit Goenka, how does it make you feel, the attack that is coming in from the Congress party today? Your great-grandfather started this press. Yes, Mr. Devi Dayal has talked about the contribution and the link that the press had with Mahatma Gandhi. But the Congress leader here objects to the fact that, the family was opposed to Mahatma Gandhi at the time when he was still living.
Thank you so much, Shivani. Good evening, everyone. This is the first time I'm coming on this panel. There's one thing that I would mention is one should always keep politics away from culture. It's deeply saddening that any kind of politics is getting involved in culture, especially for the kind of work that Gita Press has done. It's commendable, and that too for absolute zero profits, right? It's a non-profit organization. The trust was set up to help people to educate the next generation, the following generation, and that's what Gita Press has been doing for the last 100 years now, and they'll continue to do so for the next 100, 200 years as well. So my question main to everyone here is like, why are we involving any kind of politics in culture? Culture is what makes us human. Culture is what makes us who we are today, and we are so proud about our culture. And that's exactly what Gita Press is trying to do. It's trying to pass on that culture to every generation peacefully, without any tactics, without looking to make any profit out of anything. It's 100% non-profit organization, no advertisement, nothing. So why is culture getting involved with politics, and why are some politicians trying to use Gita Press as trying to probably get some fame or trying to make an issue out of it? In fact, we should all celebrate who we are as humans today, and especially the Hinduism that we are following. So,
but what do you make of the
strongly
allegation?
believe that
What do you
do
make
not
of the
involve
allegation that Gita Press is not the deserving candidate for an award like this, which is based on Gandhiji? That the relationships were also stormy and there were differences of opinion, and therefore, what was the need to award Gita Press this award? I do understand that they qualify on many other benchmarks, which is spreading peaceful, mentality, because Hinduism per se is peaceful. All of its grunts talk about it. I understand that. They do it for charity. They have been very successful in reaching out to the masses, etc. I get all of that. But their fundamental objection is that on the issue of following Gandhi's principles, the Gita Press doesn't qualify.
Who sets up these principles? That's the number one question. And secondly, Gita Press had never been formed to be chasing some awards. They have never done that, right? They will continue to do so with regards to whatever knowledge that they're imparting. In fact, this award actually helps Gita Press to get a bit more recognition globally, so that people outside of India as well, especially who are Hindus, they would be able to understand a bit more about Hinduism. They would be able to understand a bit more about Sanatana Dharma. So I feel that this award actually helps Gita Press to get the deserved recognition that they always had.
Okay.
So I completely I don't agree with any kind of politic views where it has been mentioned that Congress with regards to that Gita Press doesn't deserve this award. I think that's completely untrue, and that shouldn't be done.
Well, I come back to the fundamental question, Kamru Chaudhary. Two questions. One, weren't the ideals of Mahatma Gandhi Hindu Sanatan ideals? And this press, of any press, and one could argue of any body, has been consistently spreading those same ideals. The Congress is the first one to remind the ideals of Mahatma Gandhi came from him being a devout Hindu.
Well, Shivani, the basic point that we are trying to put it in the public domain is not opposition to Gita Press getting an award. Our main objection is that you are giving an award in the name of Mahatma Gandhi to such an institution or organization which did not uphold the values of Mahatma Gandhi.
But how?
Which did not want to propagate the ideals of Mahatma Gandhi for what he believed. Relationship between Gita Press and Mahatma was always tempestuous. After a series of disagreements on the Pune Pact, the entry of Harijans into the mandirs, Kalyan Press denied the assassination of Mahatma Gandhi by Nathuram Godse. Rather, they never criticized Nathuram Godse for what he did to the Mahatma Gandhi. So this was the relationship.
Okay.
In fact,
okay, I get it. I think you've made your point. Once again, I have limited time. Let me ask you the political question now. Don't you think the manner in which Jairam Ramesh has raised this objection, that could end up hurting the Congress party? Because we are hearing even from some Congress leaders from Uttar Pradesh on record, they are saying that, why are you doing these things? Because you end up antagonizing Hindus against yourself.
That's the game plan of the BJP. Absolutely. Anything linked up with Hindutva, Hinduism or anything, they seem that they are the tikadars of that particular religion. Now we are criticizing not the Hindus or Hindu Dharam or anything related to Hinduism. We are criticizing the false narrative that Narendra Modi's government is trying to propagate, that we are the guardians of the Hinduism religion.
But the Narendra Modi government is honoring an organization that is so close to Hindus in this country and spreads the word of Hindu texts. If you attack that body, you end up offending people, no?
No, ma'am. Shivani, you must understand we are a secular nation as well as a plural nation. We cannot go and award Nathuram Godse. Rather, now present-day BJP leaders will hardly denounce
I'm not talking about Nathuram Godse.
They will idolize him.
No, once again, let's not be facetious about it. I'm not talking about awarding Nathuram Godse. But I have limited time. Tohin Sena, please respond to this. They are not attacking Hindus or Hindu philosophy. They have objections to the history of Gita Press.
Shivani, 2 quick points.
Yes.
A lot of many senior Congress leaders had a difference of opinion with Gandhi ji even on the Quit India movement. So does the Congress or does the country stop celebrating those other freedom fighters? Is the Congress logically challenged to bring up such puerile arguments? And number 2, if Congress had actually started reading books of Gita Press, their leaders like Shivraj Patil would not make atrocious comments like, the conversation between Lord Krishna. He would not equate the conversation between Lord Krishna and Arjun on the eve of the Mahabharat war to jihad. But that's precisely what Shivraj Patil did last October, embarrassing the entire nation.
Okay.
So I think
there is also a history that has been quoted by some. One, that the Congress governments in the past have celebrated or felicitated Mr. Poda, the founder of the Gita Press, and the first Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, who was a Congress leader, Govind Ballabh Pant, wanted Bharat Ratna to be given to the founder of the Gita Press. I am not understanding how Bharat Ratna was okay and asked for by a Congress leader was okay. But today, if the Narendra Modi government gives the Gandhi Peace Prize to the same Gita Press, then it becomes a problem. Because that invites the criticism that the Congress today opposes anything that this government does, despite its own history. Savarkar is one of those examples. Indira Gandhi is on record to credit his contribution. Today, the Congress doesn't want to see eye to eye on that. But I've run out of time. I want to give a final word to Devi Dayal ji also. आपने इंटरेस्टिंगली जो 1 करोड़ की जो राशि है इसके अवार्ड के साथ वो लेने से मना कर दिया. क्या आप हमें बता सकते हैं कि ये डिसीजन आपने क्यों लिया है?
गीता प्रेस पिछले अपने शताब्दी वर्ष पूरा हो चुका है गीता प्रेस का, और गीता प्रेस के संस्थापकों का ये निर्णय था, ये निश्चित मत था कि अपने को शांति से अपने कार्य में लगे रहना है और भगवान उस कार्य को देख रहा है. तो इसलिए उनके ऊपर जाकर कोई पुरस्कार ग्रहण करना, और हमारे संस्था आदि संपादक हनुमान प्रसाद जी पोद्दार, उनको भारत रत्न के लिए गुलजारी लाल जी नंदा लेकर के आए थे, लेकिन उन्होंने बहुत ही दयनीय अपने आप को जो है उसके लिए अनुपयुक्त बताते हुए बहुत सम्मान पूर्वक उस पुरस्कार को वापस किया था. उसी परिपाटी पर गीता प्रेस आज चल रहा है. लेकिन क्योंकि ये सारी हिंदू भावनाओं का सवाल है, इस इस पुरस्कार को हम स्वीकार करते हैं, लेकिन आर्थिक रूप में इसको स्वीकार नहीं करते हैं, एक सम्मान के रूप में स्वीकार करते हैं।
जी जी। All right. On that note, I want to thank our guests for joining us. Let the viewers decide if this attack was unwarranted and excessive or not. Moving on to the other big story we're tracking. While Adipurush makers have decided to change a few dialogues after massive condemnation of the pedestrian and vulgar writing, challenges for the film are not ending. That's because opposition to the film is increasing by the day as more and more people watch it. Now calls for boycotts have started, even with the political parties asking for the film to be pulled out of Indian theatres. When movies are opposed, usually we see that one section is in opposition while the another comes out in support. It actually becomes a fight of political ideologies. Adipurush is unique in this regard, where literally all sides have questioned this movie and the way it has treated the Itihas of Ramayana. Politically, culturally, intersectionally, everyone has objections, and there is literally no support to the creative treatment in this movie of the eternal story of Ram. Now, being mediocre is one thing, cannot really be punished. But has this movie, with a 600 crore budget at its disposal, basically been casual and cavalier with how seriously they have treated this subject? I'll go to our guests with our questions in just a bit. Let me start with first highlighting some of the appalling dialogues in this film. Remember, these dialogues are being spoken by characters that are revered in India. So one of those that has been in contention is Kapda tere baap ka, tel bhi tere baap ka, jalegi bhi tere baap ki. This is spoken by Hanuman, if you can believe it. Teri bua ka bagicha hai, kya jo hawa khane aa gaya. जो हमारी बहनों को हाथ लगाएंगे हम उनकी लंका लगा देंगे. And this is appalling to say the least. I mean, I find it obnoxious to even have to repeat this. मेरे एक सपोले ने तुम्हारे शेषनाग को लंबा कर दिया. Vulgar innuendos that are frankly not worth repeating. But the problems don't end there. A lot of the other creative representations have been questioned. So there is the shabby, dark portrayal of Lanka instead of how it was described in the text as a golden Lanka. People have also objected to the sexualization of Sita and Vibhishan's wife in the depiction. Ravan's Pushpak has changed into a CGI generated dragon or bat. Ravan, Indrajit in fact have been shown with spiked hair in the film. Ravan in fact is even being shown wearing a metal mask. Many creative elements in the movie in any case are lifted from other films. Planet of the Apes being one example. And finally, there is a scene where Ram is wearing a white robe, a very Abrahamic look, while, of course, the Islamic look of Ravan in the past has been criticized even when the trailer came out. So the debate is not really about whether this movie should be boycotted or not. The debate is whether the filmmakers have been cavalier with the subject and sentiment.
चार 4,500 लाइनें मैंने गिनी तो नहीं है, पर लगभग इतनी लाइनों के संवाद पिक्चर में है. उसमें से अगर 5 पे एतराज है आपको, तो ये 5 का एतराज मैं शिरोधार्य करता हूँ. 5 डायलॉग पे आपत्ति है, मैं 5 बदल रहा हूँ 100%.
इस तरह से इस फिल्म का प्रचार किया गया और विशेषकर भारतीय जनता पार्टी के लोगों के द्वारा, उस व्यक्ति को माफी नहीं, देश के सामने हाथ जोड़ के कहना चाहिए कि हमने और मेरी कलम ने देश के लोगों की भावनाओं को, धार्मिक भावनाओं को आहत किया.
CBFC ने इस पे जो निर्णय करना है वो किया है. सेंट्रल बोर्ड ऑफ फिल्म सर्टिफिकेशन उनका एक काम है, और जो फिल्म के निर्माता, निर्देशक हैं और जो लेखक भी हैं, उन लोगों ने जो डायलॉग बदलने की बात है वो भी कही है. किसी की भी भावनाओं को आहत करने का अधिकार किसी को नहीं.
Let's go across to the guests joining us. Gautam Chintamani is a film historian with us. Abhishek Asthana is founder of Ginger Monkey Inn. He's famous as Gabbar on Twitter, is one of the social media influencers who've seen the movie and commented on it. Hindol Sengupta is historian also joining us. And I'm first going across to Krishan Kotian, actor from the Adipurush. In fact, Krishan Kotian is joining us. We've wrongly asked him as Hindol Sengupta. Let me go across to Krishan ji first. Can you hear me? I don't think he can hear me. But let me go across to Gautam Chintamani. So the defense that has come in from the actors, from the director and the writer so far, Gautam, is that, we wanted to simplify Ramayan for today's audiences, and that there are only 5 such dialogues which may be problematic. The rest has been written with a lot of devotion to the subject. Do you buy this argument, given everything that this movie has come under scanner for?
Hi and good evening, everyone. I don't buy this argument. I've always maintained that cinema, and especially filmmaking, is not an accident. Everything happens which is planned down to the final point. So when the teaser came out a few months ago, there was a similar brouhaha which came about, and rightfully so, because at that point, the filmmakers, the writer, they were insisting that this is exactly like the Ramayan that we know.
Yes.
And they are trying to update it. I'm paraphrasing. They're trying to update it for a younger generation. But there were a lot of problems back then also. Like, for example, the filmmakers maintained that they had followed texts such as Hanuman Chalisa or Ramcharitmanas, and that they had taken things out from there. But a simple line, a simple reading of Hanuman Chalisa tells you that the kind of depiction that Hanumanji has in this film is far from what scriptures or the text
say. Absolutely.
that we have grown up knowing have done. So I don't buy this argument. I think it was planned to make this kind of an interpretation of Ramayana. And while on the one hand, I don't have a problem with filmmakers interpreting subjects for their generation. A lot of filmmakers do that, and one should not hold the fact that you're a contemporary filmmaker against you. But then there are certain touchy topics which need to be handled with a lot of care. And I'm not saying that if you don't do things a certain way, there is bound to be backlash. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that these are texts which are revered, which are loved, and which are very close to people. And also, making it for a younger generation, the argument which is being given, or that there are issues with just 5 dialogues. I mean, even when the teaser came out, they said that watch the entire film
and then judge.
Then why would you put the teaser out?
Yeah, I get your point, and I'm also not buying this argument that just because you want to simplify it, quote unquote, for the younger generation, it needs to be pedestrian in its nature. And frankly, as I've pointed out, there are blatant vulgar innuendos being spoken from the word of Hanuman. I'm not sure how anybody from the film associated with the film thought this was a good idea. But speaking of someone associated with the film, Krishan Kotian is an actor who has portrayed Dashrath in the film Adipurush. Krishan ji, I really appreciate your time, and I can understand that it must be a difficult time for the cast and crew to speak about this movie given the backlash that it is facing. But I want to understand from you, the filmmakers have decided that they'll change a few dialogues now because objection has come. But they also seem to be defending those dialogues, saying that we did it for this reason. Do you think today there is no defense for these dialogues, that they shouldn't attempt to defend them?
There are a lot of things which is, I think Manoj Muntasir has been defending himself. Firstly, being a Hanuman devotee, it's very sad and hurting and painful for me to see this dialogue being given to the character of Hanuman to say this dialogue in the film. Secondly, they said that this is for the younger generation. It's an insult to the younger generation.
Yes.
They want to say that younger generation speaks this language, this street language. It's not. Younger generation speak this kind of language only when they are with friends. We all do that. But when it is for the larger audience, when it's for the whole of India, when it's for the masses, you cannot tell that this is the language. Younger generation knows which language to speak when. So I think stop insulting the younger generations. That is one. Secondly, I believe they have agreed to change the dialogue under the pressure, not willingly. If you see all the interviews of Manoj Muntasir, he has been defending himself.
Yes.
कि हमारे बुजुर्ग भी इसी तरह हमको कहानी सुनाते थे, what not. So now the damage is done, and then there is no running away from it. Of course, they have to do the changes, but the changes will not matter now. It's not only about the dialogues. It's also about a lot of things about portrayal of Ram. Ram has been shown very aggressive, whereas Ram is an epitome of love. Whatever he's done in the story of Ramayana, for me, it's a love story. He's full of love for his father, for his words, for his parents, for his wife, for his brother. And also the look of Hanuman.
Yes.
Hanumanji. I mean, all put together, it doesn't make any sense. I don't know how somebody has given them 400 crore to make. Maybe they have not read the script.
No, but you were part of this film.
How could they?
You were part of this film. So were these things not discussed when the film was being made? Were objections not being raised?
My part was very small. It's a day or two of shoot, and when they were shooting with me, only I was there. So there was nothing as such which drew my attention. It was all nice and good. But holistically, when you see the film, that is where you understand that something is wrong. So I think I saw the film day after the release, and I was very shocked at the languages, at the look and feel of the film, portrayal of the characters. I mean, there are so many things.
Yeah, on the portrayal, I'm sure, people have raised objections to the mustache of Ram. He has never been shown with a mustache. To the depiction of Hanuman, the very Islamic look of Ravan. There is a white robe that Ram is wearing. This people are saying you've made him look like Jesus. Nobody can understand why you would do so when there are so many references available for how Ram dressed and what he looked like. There is also an objection to the sexualization of the female characters, both Sita and another character that I'm forgetting. So, you know, it's just so problematic on so many levels. Vibhishan's wife.
Yeah, so as far as Ravan is concerned, see, I'm not a fan of Ravan. Ravan was an evil person, so you can depict evil in any which ways, but you cannot depict truth in any other ways. Ram stands for truth, love, sacrifice. The Ram we have seen, or we have grown up seeing, or we have heard, was pleasant, soothing, full of love. Whereas if you see in Adipurush, of course, mustache is one of the issues. Even his beard, the chin is dark, and you don't know what it is. It is a stubble, or is it a dark makeup? Makeup is also dark, and so I feel that he's been shown as very aggressive. You see all the emotions throughout the film. I think we loved him in Bahubali. He's a fantastic actor. I think the mehnat nahi kiya gaya performance mein. I would say that. And I have a question, what was censor doing when they saw the film?
The censor board, you mean?
See, it starts from there. It also starts from the time when the script was given.
For them, it is about what is allowed as far as a filmmaker is concerned. But I will take that point to some of our other guests. Krishnji, I request you to just stay with me for like 5-10 minutes more. Listen to what some of the other panelists are saying. Hindol Sengupta is joining us. Is he through with us now?
I am.
Yeah, Hindol, you know, you've also been on record to say that we need better storytellers if they're going to look into these epics. Because this movie has turned out to be a massive embarrassment and a colossal waste of money and a failure. And one of the actors of the film himself is saying we are so disappointed with what has happened. Do you believe that it is not fair?
Sorry, first. I couldn't reach a location on time, so I'm still in my car.
Yes.
But let me quickly give you my opinion on this. You know, the Ramayana is not only a religious text for us. The Ramayana, if anybody who understands Sanskrit, is itihasa.
Yes.
It is part of our remembered history, right? And that's why we have a clear indication in the Ramayana on what each character was, what their inclinations were, what they looked like, how they behaved. All of this is given, right? Now, somebody I heard just on your show said, well, you know, Ram represents truth, and therefore we have to depict him in one way. But with Ravan, we can do anything. That's completely wrong. Actually, even Ravan, the Ramayana is a complex text. Ravan's great failing was his was his arrogance, and which is why he, even though he's a great master of the Vedas, he's somebody in the Ramayana who's mastered the Shastras and the Vedas. So even him, you have to depict in a particular way. You cannot, depict him as a Islamist marauder. That's ridiculous and it's wrong. So this film is wrong in so many ways. And I go back to my tweet. We need much better storytellers because our civilization has great stories, innumerable great stories. We as a people, our generation and others, are making a mistake. We don't have good storytellers. We are destroying the stories of our civilization. This movie is a shame. And the writer of this movie really is a pathetic idiot. He understands nothing, far less the Ramayana. He should have never been allowed to come anywhere close to the Ramayana.
I want to go across to Abhishek also joining us. Abhishek, against my wish, I do want to emphasize on how vulgar the language in the movie is. मेरे एक सपोले ने तुम्हारे शेष नाग को लंबा कर दिया. Is this the defense?
So,
what can be the defense of dialogues like this? That this is for the younger population?
See, Shivani, I went to the movie to see it basically, and after all the backlash I heard online, I actually wanted to see what exactly this is before passing my judgment.
Right.
And when I see it, I could see very well that it's a business product, right? All these guys were trying to make money of the new plan. The dialogues are bad, we'll change it. If this is bad, we'll change it. It's as if it's like a software product, and there are bugs which they want to fix so that the business isn't hampering. So that's what it is basically. It's just a shoddy product basically. And I was in the cinema hall. I could see. I mean, Ramayana has so many goosebump inducing moments, right? I mean, what they've done is they basically renamed everyone on this side, where you have Raghav, you have Janki. They don't even mention the name of Ram basically, but you have the Jai Sri Ram going on non-stop at the background, and you have Ravan, you have everyone who is of course depicted as an Islamic marauder. You see Turkish kind of clothes that they are wearing, and they're using Urdu words like "Maut aa jayegi, main tumhe dho dunga." So it's very apparent that what kind of plank are they trying to base their movie on. And now when they got backlash from the same people they thought they'll get support from, they're trying to fix those bugs, as they call it. And that's where I think today I've been hearing that the Monday business has dropped by 75%, and that's a positive indication. If that happens, that means the public in India is not gonna be swayed by VFX, cheap VFX, and that's the story. They'll actually reject such a movie.
My problem is not even how much business this movie does, because that's not really my concern here. My concern is how callous the attitude is while dealing with a subject like this. And Krishanji, I'm coming to you one more time. Some people feel that the makers of this film have tried to ride a wave of Hindu regeneration, Hindu revivalism in this country, whatever you may want to call it, and ride that sentiment without actually being true to that sentiment, or even showing any seriousness to understand that sentiment and that past. Do you agree with that? What even Abhishek is trying to suggest, that this was purely business. There is no devotion, no element of devotion or even seriousness involved.
I agree with Abhishek completely, because see, kya hota, I think too much of ego has gone into the writer's head or maybe the director's head, and they thought we can do anything and we will get away. But the people of India has given them reaction and feedback. Secondly, this film did not evoke emotions, because a saga like Ramayana cannot be made in one part. So what happened is, in 3 hours, they tried to fit such a big epic saga. So audience didn't get time to connect. Even the Jatayu scene or the Sanjeevani scene or any scene, it comes so fast and goes so fast. So they made it like any other film, without any emotional connect to the film, without giving it this due respect. So एक आम film की तरह इस film को deal किया है. So they just the scenes move faster.
Yeah.
So which I agree with Abhishek that yes, I think they thought they will get away. See, end of the day, you cannot get away. Someday it will misfire, and the people of the community have reacted. दे थॉट रामायण करने से हम कुछ भी कर सकते हैं, रामायण मान लो। ऐसा नहीं होगा। मतलब मैं सोचता हूँ स्क्रिप्ट लेवल पे क्या एक्टर्स ने स्क्रिप्ट नहीं पढ़ी, डायरेक्टर ने स्क्रिप्ट नहीं पढ़ी, 400 करोड़ ऐसे दे दिए। Then if tomorrow I go for 5 crore film, the producer and the stakeholders will have thousands logical questions for me to answer. Okay, why this is happening so? Why this is so? So nobody questioned him, either the T series, or the actor, or the Prabhas, or the actor who played Hanuman.
No, I wonder how
go
did
ahead?
this pass muster when creative
Correct.
minds came together? How is it that any of them thought this was okay? And then they even came out and defended this in the name of simplification and the fact that they're not actually talking about Ramayana. It is inspired by Ramayana. But as Abhishek very rightly pointed out, every character is from Ramayana. You've got Jai Shri Ram going on in the back. Then how can you absolve yourself of any responsibility of which character you're talking about? But okay, let me... Yeah, go ahead.
Source material is Ramayana, right? If
Yeah,
you're creating
absolutely.
anything, you can say it's not Ramayana, but what is your source material? It is Ramayana.
Epics, itihas of our country.
No, that goes without saying. And it's not just that when you're dealing with sensitive issues. I think every film is a very powerful tool. And there have to be questions asked. I can understand Krishna ji's frustration here because many a times actors don't get to read the script in its entirety. Now I wonder that was Prabhas even aware of what he was doing? You know, so there are certain questions that need to be raised about this thing. But at the end of the day, see, creativity is fine, but you need to be true to your subject.
Yes.
And to say, this is a very escapist thing to say that we'll change 5 dialogues here, we'll change 3 dialogues there. I don't think that that's how this is going. My only fear is that somewhere such experiments should not empower filmmakers or younger filmmakers to think that you can push the envelope.
Yeah.
अभी कहीं ऐसा ना हो कि कल को एक और खराब पिक्चर बने and then people say that absolve it by saying कि it was not as bad as Adipurush.
No,
so that is a...
you know what I want to just say, I've run out of time. I just want to say that, you know, as I said earlier, people will attempt and not all of them are going to be brilliant. Brilliance is rare, and coming together with many other minds and producing a movie, I understand it's a mammoth challenge and not always will it succeed. But at least your movie should depict that you had some sensibilities and some seriousness with what you wanted to achieve. It may turn out to be mediocre, but it cannot be insensitive. Those are two very different things. And this movie is absolutely callous and cavalier in how it treats its subject. I'm actually still appalled that minds came together and thought that this is okay in the name of making a movie in 2023. But I've run out of time. We'll try and speak to the filmmakers. We've been trying it as well. But I do thank all of our guests for joining us, for sharing their views. Moving on the other side of a very short break, we'll get you the build-up to Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to the US this week. The Indian diaspora, amongst others, excited to greet the Indian PM.
मेरा स्पष्ट मत है कि ये फिल्में एजेंडा के तहत बनाई जाती हैं। अब अगर उसमें आपने जिन ईश्वर के प्रति लोगों की आस्था एक बड़े वर्ग की, उनकी जुबान आपने टपोरियों वाली जुबान कर दी, ये तो किसी के मतलब मैं समझता हूं कि किसी के जहन में उतरेगा नहीं। आप कहीं ना कहीं ये तो साबित होता है ना कि आपको लगा मैं कुछ भी कर जाऊंगा, कुछ नहीं होगा मेरा, क्योंकि एक तरह का सैंक्शन आपको है। आपने जिन जिन लोगों को धन्यवाद दिया है फिल्म में, उसमें सारे मैं देख रहा था बीजेपी के चीफ मिनिस्टर या डिप्टी चीफ मिनिस्टर।
आदि पुरुष इस फिल्म के विषय में जो अभी र्यूमर है, जो पब्लिक ने जिन्होंने देखा है, जो रिव्यू आ रहे हैं, वो अच्छे नहीं हैं। मुझे लगता है कि कहीं ना कहीं हिंदू जनमानस को उनके संवादों से ठेस पहुंची है। और इसके पहले भी ये विषय जब आया था, जब ट्रेलर आया था इसका, तब भी मैंने ये कहा था कि इसमें किसी भी फिल्म को उसका विरोध हम तुरंत नहीं करते हैं। हम उस फिल्म को देखेंगे तब उसका विरोध हम करेंगे। लेकिन इस समय जो कुछ भी हम सुनने को हमें मिल रहा है वो ठीक नहीं है, और निश्चित तौर पर आदि पुरुष फिल्म ने हिंदू जनमानस के कहीं न कहीं मनों को ठेस पहुंचाई है।
There's breaking news coming in. We're learning that SP Chief Akhilesh Yadav has waded into the Adipurush controversy, saying, and I quote, "Those who are playing with the faith of the people by making arbitrary films with an agenda, with the money of political masters, their political character certificate should be checked before giving the certificate of the censor board. Has the censor board become Dhritarashtra?" Now, again, multiple statements. There's been a lot of controversy over the film Adipurush, specifically when it comes to the depiction of Sita. Remember, this film is based on the Ramayana, loosely based, of course. Now, this film is not being touted as a documentary. It is a work of fiction, but there still continues to be controversy over the depiction of the characters in the film. There have been multiple reactions from opposition leaders as well. We're crossing over to Sena News 18 senior editor Pallavi Ghosh to tell us more about the controversy. Pallavi, so right now the breaking input that we have is a reaction from the SP chief.
Yes, it is not the real one, and the kind of accusations you made against us are baseless, because it clearly shows when you...
Who is a senior journalist from Nepal on Adipurush, the ban in Kathmandu and Pokhara.
पंकज दास विद अस राइट नाउ। सर, हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए धन्यवाद। इस फिल्म के रिसेप्शन के बारे में आप हमें और क्या बता सकते हैं काठमांडू और नेपाल के अंदर?
देखिए, काठमांडू के जो मेयर हैं, उन्होंने फिल्म रिलीज होने से एक दिन पहले ही ये कहा था कि यदि इस फिल्म का जो डायलॉग है जिसमें ये कहा गया है कि किसी भी भारत की बेटी के साथ इस तरह का व्यवहार न करे, इस तरह का एक डायलॉग है उसमें, इनका कहना है कि सीता, जो जानकी का रोल है, वो जानकी सीता माता को दिखाया गया है और उनका जन्म जनकपुर में हुआ था। वो जनकपुर की थी और जनकपुर नेपाल का हिस्सा है, इसलिए उसको भारत की बेटी कैसे कहा गया है, तो इस वजह से यहाँ पे विरोध हो रहा है। हालांकि फिल्म में जो वो डायलॉग है वो किसी और कंटेक्स्ट में कहा गया है, इस तरह की कोई आपत्तिजनक बात नहीं और सीता को खास टारगेट करके भी नहीं कहा गया है, लेकिन यहाँ पे एक अलग तरह का ही राष्ट्रवाद चलता है, भारत विरोधी राष्ट्रवाद जो है नेपाल में चलता है, तो इस वजह से फिल्म सेंसर बोर्ड जो नेपाल का है उसने वो भारत शब्द को म्यूट करके यहाँ दिखाने के लिए परमिशन दे दिया था।
The row over the Prabhas star film Adipurush continues to escalate after the film's dialogue writer Manoj Muntashir said that the dialogues will be revised. Now, the other faction of the Shiv Sena's MP Priyanka Chaturvedi has demanded that the BJP CMs who blessed the film should apologize to the nation. Remember, the movie thanks several BJP chief ministers for blessing the movie. And meanwhile, Hindu organizations have created a ruckus at the Capital Mall at Nalasopara in Maharashtra over the film. Hindu groups raised slogans inside of the cinema hall, as a result of which the show had to be cancelled midway. Apart from India, Adipurush is also drawing criticism in Nepal's Kathmandu, where the city's mayor has raised questions over the depiction of Sita and announced an all-out ban on the release of Hindi films in the city. And it's not just Kathmandu, but Pokhara has also banned all Indian films.
अगर आपको लगा कि मनोज मुंतशिर की लेखनी से निकले ये संवाद आपके राम के चरित्र को और आपकी मां सीता के सतीत्व को सही तरीके से प्रतिपादित कर रहे हैं, सही तरीके से प्रेजेंट कर रहे हैं, तो पहले तो इतने के लिए मेरी प्रशंसा होनी चाहिए कि मैंने बहुत अच्छा किया। फिर जहां आपको ये लगता है कि नहीं भाई, बजरंगबली के 5 संवादों पे पूरी कहानी है, 4-4.5 हजार लाइनें, मैंने गिनी तो नहीं।
On the first day of his arrival in Washington, D.C., on 21st, the first key engagement would be an event that is focused on skilling for future, which essentially would try to bring out the key complementarities and the objectives that both systems seek to promote and achieve in the field of skilling and capacity building. There is a deep and widespread interest in the Honorable Prime Minister's visit to the US. There is an extensive government-wide effort on both sides to enrich the relationship further by including some of the key areas of cooperation.
आज मोदी जी को सपोर्ट करने आया हूँ। आई एम वेरी हैप्पी कि मैं यहाँ पे आ पाया हूँ आज। अच्छा लगता है कि मेरे को देश से ऐसी कनेक्टिविटी फील होती है कि सब लोग यहाँ पर होते हैं। जब मोदी जी आते हैं, जब देश की प्रेजेंस यहाँ पे फील होती है तो बहुत गर्व लगता है कि मेरा देश का मैं हिस्सा हूँ।
We are here to gather to welcome Modi ji and we are showing our solidarity and also on the bilateral initiative from USA and India, so the partnership in climate change.
इंडिया का लीडर जो होता है वो ऐसा होना चाहिए जो इंडिया को प्यार करता है, जिसके लिए इंडिया के दिल में आदर है, प्यार है, वही इंडिया को लीड कर सकता है। And Modi ji has that quality. Number one quality, he loves India. He does everything for India, not for anybody in particular.
Good evening, hello and welcome. You're watching CNN News 18. This is The Right Stand with me, Poonam Burde. There is a lot of noise over an award that is meant to promote peace. The Gandhi Peace Prize of 2021 has been awarded to a century-old publisher from Uttar Pradesh, Gita Press. It's the world's largest publisher of Hindu religious texts. Since 1923, Gorakhpur-based Gita Press has lived through India's landmark moments, be it the Khilafat movement to the birth of the RSS, the freedom struggle, and then the story of a free India. A non-profit publishing house that sells low-priced Hindu religious texts, Gita Press is the recipient of this award for community service. It was once a nondescript small publishing house that has grown leaps and bounds in the last century. In fact, this year it celebrates 100 years. While other publishers face financial challenges during the COVID-19 pandemic, the Gita Press recorded an impressive profit of 77 crore rupees. But the opposition can't seem to make peace with this move. Before we get into the controversy, let me tell you what the Gandhi Peace Prize is. Now, this is an award that is conferred as a homage to the principles that is championed by Mahatma Gandhi. It was launched in 1995 by the central government, and every single year it is conferred on individuals or institutions to celebrate their efforts in promoting social, economic and political transformation. Now, as per the Culture Ministry, Gita Press has been honoured for its commendable work over the last 100 years. The Prime Minister, who also took to Twitter this morning, he too lauded the publishing house for furthering social and cultural transformations among the people of this country. There is reason to believe that this particular organization, the Gita Press, the publishing house, is a well-deserving one as far as the Peace Prize goes. Reason number one, as illustrated by the Culture Ministry, by the government, is the contribution to social transformation of this particular organization. The contribution to the upliftment of humanity is another reason why the jury deemed fit for the award to be presented to them. The political transformation that this organization has undertaken over the last 100 years, especially via its Gandhian methods. Another reason why the jury believed that they are deserving is that because they've been promoting Gandhian ideals of social harmony as well. The Gita Press personifies Gandhian living in true sense is what the press release that came from the government read. That is the reason why the jury, which is headed by the Prime Minister but has multiple other people in it, decided that the 2021 Gandhi Peace Prize would go to the Gita Press. Now, many believe that Gita Press has the unique distinction of making Hinduism relatable, affordable and portable. It is also one of the reasons why the Congress believes that awarding the Gandhi Peace Prize to an organization that furthers the cause of one religion is a travesty. Here's a look at the history of the Gita Press. It was established in 1923, like I mentioned, in Uttar Pradesh's Gorakhpur. It's the world's largest publisher of Hindu religious texts. It publishes the Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, Upanishads and Puranas as well, even now. It promotes Sanatan Dharma and the Hindu religion. The literature that it produces promotes that kind of thought. It promotes morality and spirituality through its literature that it publishes. The archives of the Gita Press hold at least 3,500 manuscripts of Bhagavad Gita. They contain over 100 plus interpretations of the Bhagavad Gita as well. There are over 400 million books that are published in 15 languages by this particular publishing house. There are no donations or advertisements that are taken by these publications. In 2022, in 2 years after COVID struck, it recorded book sales worth 111 crore rupees. That's the kind of history that we're dealing with. That's the kind of legacy that this organization comes with. Now, the Congress was the first to question this decision by the jury that is headed by the Prime Minister. But the Grand Old Party doesn't seem to be on the same page as far as this controversy goes. Because Jairam Ramesh, who was one of the first leaders to come out, take to Twitter, he said that Mahatma Gandhi had stormy relations with the Gita Press and the founders. To which sources within the Congress have told CNN News18 that even the Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge himself is not happy with this kind of commentary. The UP unit as well, where the Gita Press is, they too are unhappy with this kind of comment. Jairam Ramesh then said that it was against Gandhi's political and religious agenda, which is why it's a travesty that the Gandhi Peace Prize was awarded to the Gita Press. To which a source within the Congress says that the UP unit claims that this remark by Jairam Ramesh was completely unnecessary. Jairam Ramesh then also went on to say that the move to award the Gita Press this particular award is a real travesty. To which the Congress source then told us that this comment seems to be undermining the work that Gita Press has been doing in Uttar Pradesh, in Gorakhpur, for decades together, a century now. Jairam Ramesh then also likened this award to it being given to Godse or Savarkar. To which a source within the Congress said that this is completely contradictory to the Congress's stand, especially as far as the film Adipurush is concerned. On one hand, the Congress is trying to fight for the cause of the Hindu community, given the kind of dialogues we've seen in the film Adipurush. On the other hand, you're taking on an organization that has been furthering that exact cause. That kind of contradictory statements coming to the fore from the Congress does not bode well, is what many within the Congress also believe. Now, there may seem to be an unease, not just in terms of the Uttar Pradesh Congress unit is concerned, but in general within the Congress. That perhaps explain why we haven't been able to get an on-record comment from anyone within the Grand Old Party on this particular issue that would either back Jairam Ramesh or distance from him. In fact, the Congress party was to send a representative on this debate. I believe we have him now. Kamru Chaudhary of the Congress will be joining us shortly. But that has only ensured that there is a more fierce attack from the BJP as far as this issue goes. The kind of insult is what the BJP claims that has been heaped on this particular organization